Good evening, everyone. We start in about 8 minutes, just on the dot of half hour. Dr. Oliza, good evening. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Crypto Pulse Weekly with Dr. Danny. Starting just 1 minute short of the time because I'm trying to get the Instagram live up, but seems not to be working at this time. I don't know what the problem is. No, nevertheless, I think we'll just go ahead and start. So, good evening, everyone. Welcome once again. As usual, we'll go through our review of the action that happened during the week and the perspective of the markets, and from there we should be able to take home one or two important information. And I think that it's particularly significant because of the recent price action. And I mean, depending on what news you've been listening to, you will have had all sorts of information this week about either cryptocurrency or Bitcoin, as it were. So let's get cracking. As usual, we'll go through our agenda item of the market updates. We'll go through the vital signs, which are the technical analysis bits, and then we'll talk about the knowledge sharing, and then we'll take question and answers. So to start with, we usually will take a look at what's happening with the Bitcoin market, which is like the index currency for the crypto markets, and from there we're able to see what's going on in the other spheres. So a significant happening this week has been the persistent crash in the price of Bitcoin, and of course a lot of people have wondered why the price coming down, what's really going on behind the scenes, and why has it lost about 32% since the recent high. And it takes a lot of stepping back and tying a number of factors together for you to actually figure out what's been going on. So in the first instance, Bitcoin has been going up in price since the middle of November, or early second week, I think, first or second week of November, consistently for about almost 10 weeks before it reached about the $42K price mark. So by all technical indices, the indices were a bit overheated. So everybody was thinking, yeah, there's going to be a correction, but the impression then was that the correction will happen by the end of January. And because the market makers are more or less the ones that trigger the moves of the markets, it's difficult to actually say when there's going to be a correction at a particular time. Everybody sort of knows that there will be some sort of correction, but nobody's able to pinpoint because it's dependent on when a major market maker makes a move, and that move then triggers a large number of panic moves, so to say. So the first one that happened last week, as I explained, was that Coinbase, which was one of the premier and biggest, not the biggest now, but commonest cryptocurrency exchange, triggered a glitch. I don't want to believe that it was an accident. I think they triggered a glitch on their platform that was accepting sell orders, but was not accepting buy orders. So that created a discrepancy in the price feeds among all the exchanges, and then the price started crashing. And because there are so many what you call artificial intelligence bots that are attached to many of the exchanges and trade on behalf of both individuals and corporate organizations, those bots, like they say, it's garbage in, garbage out. Those bots just automatically trigger a sell when they see those kind of conditions. And because if you have thousands of bots triggering sells across the world at the same time, you can expect that there's going to be a massive dump, and that's what happened on that particular day. And in fact, the market dumped beyond normal on that day because you wouldn't expect that the price would dump in a single 4-hour period for more than 20%. So apparently, the Bitcoin buy order cancellation on CoinMarketCap significantly contributed to that. Of course, because of that event, everybody sort of just felt that, okay, that was the local top. and then some institutional investors started spreading what you call FUD, which is fear, uncertainty, and disappointment. So I'll explain all of that today, and I'll just get everybody to step back and see what's really going on, so that you understand the dynamics and what's really at play here. But it's suffice to say that, yeah, there was another dump this week, and it's crashed again to, I think, 28,900 overnight. And of course, as you can expect, a lot of margin positions were liquidated. So that's that in terms of volatility. But we'll come to volatility. In terms of regulation, you had IMF saying they want to regulate. Is it Lagarde? Lagarde is the former IMF person, Christine Lagarde, saying they need to regulate the environment, the cryptocurrency environment, and that it's being used for shady activity. Then that was also echoed by the new treasury.
Emerging from the pandemic anytime soon depends on people given more support to self-isolate. And that across the UK, more than 70% of people are following the rules. As UK ministers consider their options, Nicola Sturgeon has welcomed the idea of widening financial support. Stephen Godwin reports.
At the Glenburn Centre in Easterhouse, the aim is to help people deal with the bread and butter issues created by this pandemic. So the staff are sorting out food deliveries, organising homework teams for local children, while facing the same.
Sorry, guys, it was due to, I was going to say it was due to power failure, but it wasn't due to power failure. It was due to internet glitches. I have a VPN on my laptop, and it's always blocking internet traffic if it tries to reroute itself. And the reason I use the VPN is because VPN sort of prevents you from hackers in a way, because they're not able to essentially track your location. So it's a good thing sometimes when you're able to deploy VPN on your computer, especially if you're interacting with exchanges. So sorry about that. I'm going to resume where I stopped. So I was talking about sentiments, and what I was saying was that The market sentiment currently is very low because some, in short, some institutional buyers who have missed out on getting a discount on the price of Bitcoin are trying to spread misinformation on the market so that people will sell their Bitcoin. And you see what I'm saying in a few minutes. So let's get cracking. So for the main news which caused the sell-off was a fake wasn't a fake publication, but was a misinformation from BitMEX research. I think they were trying to, to be seen to be doing their job. So they said that there was some complaint that there was a possibility of a double spend on the Bitcoin network. What a double spend means was that a particular Bitcoin or a fraction of a particular Bitcoin was spent twice. And that because of that, they think it needs some looking into. Meanwhile, what usually happens is because the Bitcoin blockchain algorithm works with the best proof of work. The best proof of work means the transactions with the most approval on the blockchain for any period of time, or the set of transactions with the most approval on the blockchain for any period of time, is going to be the one that gets batched into the blockchain for Bitcoin after the end of that period. So to say, Bitcoin takes all the transactions that might not be right. Apologies for the guys on Zoom. I don't know what's happening. My Zoom keeps triggering off. Sincere apologies for that. What I was saying was that because of what happened at the blockchain, the transaction had the lowest disconnecting and not processing a particular transaction that has a lower fee. you can join my Instagram live. I think there's a problem with my Zoom. As I said earlier on, I didn't have any problem with the internet. So I thought it was a problem with the internet, but apparently Zoom came up and said there was an unknown error. I was asking if I wanted to report the error. I guess there might be an upgrade that needs to be done. I'll check that later. So the only thing you missed was the discussion about Grayscale. If you're already part of the Crypto Pulse Weekly or you join the podcast every week, you know that we talk about Grayscale. So Grayscale has the largest stash, as we all know, but now they reached 3% of the total supply of Bitcoin. So in the midst of all the dumps and what appears to be crisis, Grayscale is still stashing. And now they've launched, or they filed with the Securities and Exchange Commission to give them opportunity to open a trust for 5 other cryptocurrencies. So I expect that cryptocurrencies like Cardano, Chainlink, Polkadot, Ethereum will be on their radar. And because they've dropped XRP as part of their trust, I think they're going to replace that with one of the other majors. So expect to see that coming up in February. Interesting story from PayPal. If you remember, PayPal started in August saying they were going to start rendering cryptocurrency services. Then they fast-tracked by 3 months and started rendering the services in October. Because of Bitcoin, PayPal has gained 1 billion in profits for the year 2020 because of their Bitcoin business. They've not yet released the official financial statement, but when they do, people are thinking that the stock prices of stock prices of PayPal is going to shoot through the roof. So if you're a stock person, you might want to consider PayPal. You might be able to make some quick money. The stock is already improving on the back of the Bitcoin business anyway, but because of this, I think the stock is going to take a very nice spike in the following weeks. So I just thought to mention that, because I saw that and I'm like, yeah, PayPal was one of those people that were not in total agreement back in 2013, 2017. In fact, there was a story somebody was bringing out this week about the first crypto Bitcoin exchange, where the person was giving them the basis for calculating the price of Bitcoin, which was 1,500 Bitcoin was like $100, something very ridiculous. And the guy was giving them the algorithm that he used to calculate that the amount of power CPU is using, the cost of fuel, everything to arrive at that figure. And then said, if you want to buy, you need to pay to this PayPal account. So PayPal was actually used to do the original settlement. And to think they're now like big players. And PayPal has about almost 360 million now in global customers. So these guys and Grayscale on their own are able to finish all the Bitcoins on ground. But regardless, we still have people like MicroStrategy. As you know, MicroStrategy were the first in the United States to come forward and say they were going to buy Bitcoin as part of their corporate assets. Because of MicroStrategy, many organizations have now come forward to buy Bitcoin, either openly or secretly. And MicroStrategy just reported today, for instance, that they just bought another asset. What happened was they had about $500 million in treasury reserve. They bought Bitcoins. When that Bitcoin almost doubled in value, then they launched what you can call a share. They sold shares, basically, a debt shares, or what you call a note, for $650 million, which was oversubscribed, to buy more Bitcoins. So now I think they're in like the third or the fourth trend, 31,000. So all of this is pointing to one thing. And the next slide I'm going to show you I'm going to use it to tie it together. I'm going to tie together what I'm trying to say from all this information I'm giving out. Guggenheim, if you remember Guggenheim, I mentioned Guggenheim in December. Guggenheim is a venture capitalist it's a hedge fund, big hedge fund in the United States. They were saying they wanted to join in, buying Bitcoin and all that. And then they were saying, we think Bitcoin is going to go to 400K. Then this year, about 2 weeks ago, when the price of Bitcoin was about to tank, they started coming up with tweets. Both the CIO and the CEO started coming up with tweets on Twitter and were like saying, "Oh yeah, it might be a good time to take profits now. That we think there's a local top on the price of Bitcoin." Then the CEO said, it's time for people to take profit. Then the CIO came up in an event this week and said, yeah, that Bitcoin may have topped and it may go back to 20K. Now, this is classical mind game. I don't have that clip, and I'm going to look for that clip. Next week, I'm going to play that clip for you if I find it. This exact thing happened in 2017 when, okay, you can't see my slide. Sorry about that. This exact thing. Sorry about that. Institutional investors and large companies are telling Mr. Akume, please, can you mute your mic? Thank you. They were saying terrible things about Bitcoin in the open, and they were doing the opposite. So when JP Morgan came and said they're going to sack her, they opened a section of their business dedicated to Bitcoin research. And people who got disconnected on Zoom is that please do not sell off your Bitcoin. If you don't get anything from today's meeting, what I can tell you is please do not sell off your Bitcoin, at least not now. At least not now. No, at least not until Bitcoin is about 100K. That's the lowest Bitcoin can get this year. So if you have Bitcoin in any form, my advice is don't sell. If you don't need the money, I would have said don't sell at all, because Bitcoin might eventually do 1 million in a few years' time. Not eventually, it will eventually. But because people might have different need for money, and you might need to cash out and bank your profit, especially in Bitcoin, I would say you can start selling and I'm going to touch on that when I talk about buying the dip and selling the top during the knowledge sharing session. So really, what they're trying to do is basically to just get everybody to drop what they have so that they can buy at a better price, because they find out that they are late to the
I think it's all right, so what do you think you would need? Okay, then we go to Willie. I think I have some of those things actually. Flour. Yeah, okay, let's just buy. I think I have flour. Yeah. Yeah.
ṣé break wọn wà báyìí ṣé break wọn wà ní wọn máa lọ́dún mọ́tò lọ́wọ́ bá ti tó bá ìbẹ̀rẹ̀ máa padà. I don't want to be missing this meeting.
Will explain to you why now is a good time to enter the market. Because right now, everybody has a sentiment of fear. Sorry for the guys on Zoom. I apologize once again. I think there's a bug in my Zoom application that's triggering switching me off repeatedly. What I've said is that I'm going to create a separate YouTube video just for today's session, and I'm going to put it on my YouTube channel called Crypto Pulse Weekly with Dr. Dami. I'll share it on the WhatsApp link once I'm done, because I think the recording will be completely messed up because of this Zoom disconnection. Just to sort of recount what I've talked about it. But what I'm saying is right now, we're in this price goes up, so that you have a dollar cost average for your position. Sorry again for the guys on Zoom. I think there's a problem with once I start sharing my screen, because immediately I shared my screen, it didn't just disconnected itself. So, but I've noted that I'll try to make up for that. So I was sharing that Wall Street cheat sheet I share every week about the psychology of the market, that you should be afraid when everybody is getting excited, and you should be excited when everybody is afraid, essentially. So now is a good time to buy. And to confirm what I just said, that now is a good time to buy, I'm sharing the Bitcoin fear and greed sentiment. If you've been on this call before, you know that I share that every week. For the last 16 weeks, it's been either greedy or, very close to greed. Last week, it was still 88, which was still extreme greed. But as at today, it's gone to 40. From extreme greed last week, it's gone to 40, which is fair. This is a confirmation that it's a good time to buy. And I've said this so many times. I've backtested it as well to say that every time that there is fair, there's going to be a price jump, because it means that there's been a correction and the sentiment is generally low. Then if you talk about the market sentiment versus price, right now, everything is looking like sell, sell, sell. Last week, it was a mixture of sell and buy between the intraday and the daily chart. But right now, it's saying sell, sell. So it's an opportunity to get the price at a discount. As I will show you on the last slide for the guys on Instagram, I'll just show you briefly for the guys on Zoom, because it might disconnect you afterwards. What is going to happen is that after each correction, and unfortunately I can't share my screen without losing the internet. That's the problem. Well, I've said I will share my screen now. I was going to explain. Yes, I was going to explain buying the top and selling. I mean, buying the dip and selling the top. And I was going to use a particular. Yeah, let me just try for one more time. If it disconnects you guys now, then I'll accept my fate. So in buying the dip and selling the top, I'm going to share this slide that explains what happens, or what has happened every single time in history when the price of Bitcoin drops. So this is a snapshot that says the price of Bitcoin rises an average of 150% after 30% dips. And, it wasn't a claim. The person went ahead and did the annotation. So this was somewhere between May and July in 2017, 38% drop, 138% gain. 2017, sometimes between September and October, 38% drop, 106% gain. Another 33% drop, 211% gain. Another 38% drop, 164% gain. 36% drop, 117% gain, 29% drop, 238% gain. So right now we have a 32% drop. That's the lowest we've gone from the recent high. So bear in mind that we might not get more than 32% right now, but what it means is that we are now positioned to at least see 100% gain. I don't think we might get to 150, but at least I think we'll see, definitely, I think we'll see a 100% gain from the current prices. As I'm speaking to you now, right now, I can see notifications coming on my phone that the price of Bitcoin has hit 33,000 already. So bear this in mind. If you have any doubts about the nature of the bull run, this is the nature of the bull run. This is how it plays out. You have a massive drop. I think this 38% drops are the biggest ones. I can see shortly after, the market just keeps going and makes 100%. I mean 100% gain. Think about it. 100% from where we are now is 66,000. That's insane. The same thing will have felt quite insane at the beginning of December when we were talking about, oh, our all-time high of 20K, we have touched it, but we have not broken it. There's a psychological resistance, and everybody was almost worshiping the 20,000 price point. And come Christmas, 20,000 just became totally out of the view. I mean, we didn't even see 20,000 again. So now we have a 32% drop. If you want to buy Bitcoin, buy right now, because in another 4 or 5 weeks, maybe not up to 5 weeks, we might see Bitcoin at 60,000. Then, of course, it might take another 30%. So if Bitcoin goes to 60,000 from where it is now and takes a 30% dump, that's 18,000 minus, that's 42,000, which is still the peak that we first got to, which makes perfect sense because that peak then will become the next support level. So that's the main message I want to give to everybody today, that if you have a portfolio in cryptocurrencies, or if you're doubting it, know that this is the time to buy. We're having Black Friday right now. Well, Black Friday is almost over because from the look of things, the price dipped overnight. I could almost not sleep last night because I was like, man, this thing must not go beyond 28K or else there'll be some village matter in the story. But anyway, we seem to have bottomed out at 28,900, and the price has recovered. Usually on Fridays, institutional traders on the Western Hemisphere will try to sell off, but they couldn't sell off conveniently. So it means that we're breaking out. As we're speaking right now, I think we're in a breakout, and we might see some significant price movement throughout the weekend. So bear that in mind. Good time to buy. If you want to buy, you can buy right now. If you need an application to buy, I can send you a link for Swissborg. Swissborg is actually quite fast, or crypto.com. Crypto.com is also good in getting, if you want to quickly buy cryptocurrencies. So that's how far I'll be able to go today. I'm so sorry to everybody on Zoom. It's been very frustrating. I don't know what the problem is. I need to find out what the problem is with the application itself. Maybe there's a version mismatch on my laptop that's causing the problem. But apologies once again. I'm going to try to run this on my own and then post it on YouTube. I'm going to have to cancel the YouTube recording because it's completely messed up. And then I'll share the link with everybody. So if you have any questions, please let me take them before we run out of time completely. If you have any question on Instagram, you can send me a message on Instagram. But if you have any message, okay, there's still people on Zoom. If you have any message, any question on Zoom, please send me the question on Zoom or mute your mic. Now that it looks like the internet is not going to disconnect itself anymore. So, any questions? I can see Top Engineer Oyewole. I can see Dr. Shandy. I can see the Great Wheel of Wheels. I can see Mr. Kunzu. I can see AY.com. I can see somebody who's saying, I'm super rich. I want to be your friend. I like this, your house.
Thank you, Dr. Debbie. I actually have Well, it's a bit of an issue I have trying to buy a bridge protocol on its BTC. Um, I need to say that I'm new into the crypto market. I've been having some level of guidance from Mr. Ayo Bafemi. He's been very helpful. Okay, but
Okay.
I tried buying bridge protocol on my own on its BTC, and I did a market execution. Okay, and by
Yeah.
the time I was checking my dashboard on each BTC, I realized that it listed under my account listed under orders, it listed the transaction under field and cancelled. So I didn't, so it's listed as field. So I don't understand what that actually means. I was hoping that later tonight maybe I would go to YouTube and try and do some research. But since I'm on this call, I could just as well ask for clarification.
Okay. That your question is a 100 level question. I would have just said, you know what, go and buy the trading 101 class that I took last
I
year,
don't
but
mind.
I
I
will
don't
explain
mind.
what field
I don't
means.
mind buying it
And,
if I do where I can.
yeah.
I don't
So
mind.
you can pick me. You can pick me on WhatsApp.
On
You can pick me on WhatsApp. But just let me explain what field mean. When you place
okay.
an order, there are two orders you can place on an exchange. You can place what you call a market order. You can place a limit order. The market order means, like you say in Nigeria, I want to buy it now. I don't care what the price
Now,
is.
yes.
The limit
Yes.
order
I'm there.
means I want to buy at a particular price. So
Mm.
the system on the exchange, if you set a limit order, the system will not trigger that order until the price gets to that order. So if I say I want to
Yes, I'm
buy
aware. Okay.
Ethereum at 1,000, if the price doesn't get to 1,000 again, that order will
Not
never be
automatic.
fulfilled.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. But if the price drops for 1 second to 1,000, the price automatically kicks in. Now, depending on what the size of your order is, if your order is a big order or there's no liquidity for Ethereum on that particular exchange, your order might get filled. So in some exchange, you will see something like a division sign to say filled and unfilled. So if you had an order for 2 Ethereum, you can say 0.5 over 2, meaning 0.5 has been filled and 2 had not been filled. Usually what happens in that case is that there are other people on the queue that have placed limit orders for that price level. So if they place their limit order before you, that means they will get served before you get served. But you will not ordinarily know that because you just see on the other book that it will lump together all the volumes for a particular price level. So you might not know how many people are before you, but you see that, okay, maybe 50 people are intending to buy 100 Ethereum at that particular price. So that's why it might show partially filled or filled. And that's why sometimes people just wait and use limit orders. But if you feel that that particular exchange has enough liquidity, you can just set a limit order. Other than that, just put in a market order. If you put in a market order, it means you have priority. Your order will be taken immediately. And that's how, just on the side, that's how whales pump the markets. Just for your information. If I was a whale now and I had like 10,000 Bitcoin, I want to cause trouble tonight, I'll just go to the market and be doing market order, buying Bitcoin, one Bitcoin every minute. What will happen is that because the other book will have people want to buy 0.1, 0.2, 0.01, it will be consuming everything on the other book. Everything on the other Hello, sir. Apologies.